What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blake's Garage. This is part 2 of the subwoofer install on Eugene. I've already got the dynamat and everything laid down, so now we're going to run the wiring for power, ground, and remote, and then we'll get everything hooked up and see how it sounds. So this is the setup of everything I've collected. I got this kicker tin a few years ago with the intention of putting it in old Eugene. I just never got around to it, so we're finally going to get it done. Picked up this kicker amp that I think is going to match nicely with the sub. Got an MTX REQ, that's what I'm going to use for the line out converter. These are really nice because they help replace some of the bass that factory stereos normally cut at higher volume to protect the factory speakers. This adds that back and it makes the system sound a lot better even with factory head unit. Got the power and ground on 4 gauge. Speaker wire, remote cable wire, a bunch of connectors. Of course I got a fuse. Now I want all of this to be easily removed because there's not a lot of space in the back of a Jeep. And if I need to carry something larger and I need the space, I want to be able to unhook everything. So that's what this and this is for. This is a connector for power and remote. And this is just a set of RCAs that I'm going to use for the signal wires to the REQ. So I can unplug everything, remove it easily, and then that's just the harness for the REQ. So the next step is going to be get under the hood, get some ends on this power cable, and find some way of getting it through the firewall. So let's get up there and see what we got. Alright, I'm up front here, got the Jeep opened up, batteries there. Did a quick little Google search and I found that there was a way to get through the firewall back here. If you look inside, take the side panel off, there's a little foam hole right there. If you use a big screwdriver and a little percussive persuasion, aka big hammer, you can open that up enough so that the wire comes through pretty easily. So that's what I'm going to use to make it through the firewall into the cab. So I'm going to go ahead and get this wire cut, get the input on it, get the fuse panel installed, and then we'll start running it inside the cab. Alright, I've got a length of wire cut here. I'm going to put the loop on one end and get the fuse connector mounted up on the other end. We're going to connect it to the battery. I'm going to go ahead and just mount the fuse holder here, and we'll get it all connected up. Got to figure out a way to get this wire through without it hitting any sharp points or getting cut by the hood. I'm gonna have to do some engineering on that one, but we'll see. Alright, so I got everything wired up. I'm going to go ahead and put the fuse housing in place, but I'm going to leave the fuse out, so that way I don't have to disconnect my power cable and lose all the presets on my radio and everything. I'm just going to put this in place as a placeholder to make sure that the wire is long enough. We'll come back later and put the fuse in. Now that we've got that done, the next step is going to be getting the wire from up here inside the dash down into the floorboard so that we can run it along underneath the plastic trim all the way to the back. It's really tight in here and it's really dark, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any video. I may just have to catch the video whenever I'm done and just show you what I did. I'm going to get started. We'll see what happens. Alright, so I removed the front trim panel. This leaves me plenty of room to run the wire. I just loosened this one up so I can push the wire underneath. Come out the back here and under the carpet and into the cargo area. It's way too dark to try to video, so I'm just going to make it happen and we'll pick back up when I get done. The other wire that needs to be run down this side is the remote turn-on wire. Typically with the Jeeps, the guys will wire to this cigarette plug because it's wired to turn on and off with the vehicle. I've already done so because I installed a hidden CB radio in old Eugene. So I'm just going to tap onto this wire because it's already connected there. And then that'll give us our remote. Alright, we got the wires run into the back, power wire and the remote wire. The next step is going to be getting the ground wire set up to be installed. I've got the ring here. I'm going to use this seat bolt here, nice and close by. Should be a solid ground to the frame. I'm going to go ahead and get that set up. Go ahead and install my quick disconnect here. We'll be one step closer. Alright, small change of plans as expected on big jobs like this. The loop that I had for the ground wire wasn't big enough to go over the bolt for the seat. So I had to reinstall the back plate of the Tuffy enclosure to use the screw for it. It also goes into the frame. So I've got it connected there. I went ahead and temporarily installed the fuse to test with the voltage meter, and I do have 12 volts across ground and power, so we're good. The ground is good. Next step is going to be installing the quick disconnect, and then after that we'll be able to hook up the amp and the speaker. Awesome. All right, the moment of truth. I'm going to go reinstall the fuse and turn the key on the Jeep, and we'll come back and see if we have power. All right, we have power light on the amp, power light on the REQ. Power side is done. Now we got to set up the signal side. My plan is to tap into the signal going to this sub here with some T-taps and run that over to the REQ. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, get these tools put away, and then we'll get started on that side. Alright, so that was a little more work than I anticipated. I didn't really get a lot of video of it. I got the factory speaker sub box removed and run a wire inside it here. Once I got in here, I realized that since I've replaced this speaker, it uses regular speaker terminals, so I can jump off of that for the signal wire for the REQ. So I've connected these wires to there. For now, I'm going to leave the factory sub in place and leave it connected. We'll see how everything sounds. I can easily pop this out and disconnect it and just wire that directly to the output here. So I'm going to get this all put back together, get the stuffing put back in it, and then hopefully we'll be able to hook everything up. Alright, we got all of that put back together. The factory sub's back in place, wired up. Got the signal wire coming out here. These wires are for a light that's inside that Tuffy box that I added on my own. I'll clean those up whenever I reinstall the top. As I stated earlier, I want all of this to be easily removed because there's not a whole lot of space back here. So what I did was I got some RCA jacks that are solderable. I'm going to solder an end to this end and an end to the other wire to connect to the REQ. That'll allow me to unplug the signal wire to the REQ very easily along with the big power plug. This all is not going to be in its final form today. I just want to see what it sounds like. I want to see if the 110 is even worth having. If everything sounds good, I plan to mount the amp, the REQ and everything either to the speaker box or to a panel mounted to the back of the speaker box. That way it's all one unit. I can just unplug it and go. But if it doesn't sound very good and I need to get a different speaker, I don't want to punch a bunch of holes in this one yet. So I'm going to go ahead and wait and see what it sounds like first and then go from there. So that'll be another project for another day. I just want to get this one over with. It's very hot. I'm very sweaty. I've just got a little bit left to go. I'm going to start by stripping the end of this wire and getting it ready to solder. I'm going to install it with this RCA jack. So that goes on there and this cover goes on there, and you solder that end on there, and then you tighten it all up. Seems pretty simple. We're going to go gold in the middle, like that. And then we'll solder the silver one to the outside. I don't think it really matters, I just want to make sure I do both ends the same, so I don't get a cross signal. Alright, let's go. Alright, everything is wired, connected, tested, and everything works. Amazon just ran to bring me my little short RCA cables for the line out converter. I want to throw the top back on the Tuffy box and get everything buttoned up. Got somewhere to be this evening, so I got to go get cleaned up. I would let you guys listen to it, but YouTube gets mad at me whenever I play music I don't own, so just have to pretend like you heard it. Sounds pretty good though. It's going to take a little tweaking to get the gain and everything set correctly, but I think this little Tim's going to work all right. So we got this system installed. We got the sub in old Eugene. It's going to be nice to have some tunes now. Just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me here in the garage. It's been hot today, but we got some stuff accomplished, and that's always a good feeling. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you would like to, subscribe, send me some comments. I'm sure I'll respond, ask some questions, tell me some jokes. I don't really care. You guys have a wonderful day and rock on.